Today, we're going to be checking out the brand new Bloxburg UI, as well as talking about my opinions on it and the community's opinions too. Hey glossettes, welcome back. How are you guys doing today? Now earlier today, Bloxburg finally added the first half of the brand new UI update, which basically means how the game is kind of like designed, what the buttons look like, and it looks amazing, but of course it is a big change, so some people do have some opinions on it, which we will go over as well. But what we're going to do first is take a look at the actual UI. So when you first join the game, you get a look at the brand new logo, which they did actually show this yesterday. The logo is so gorgeous. I love how they've kept like the same font and the same colors. Oh my gosh, and then you get this menu as well. But yeah, on the logo, I absolutely adore how they basically kept this same logo, same colors, same font. They've just made it so much better. It looks like such a cute little logo now. But you also then get this main screen, which is such an improvement from the old one. You have the play button, neighborhood, store, and what's new, which is like update logs. And then down here we have settings as well, which brings up the settings. Now, as you can see, half of the UI is still designed like the old one because they're only releasing a bit of it at a time, which is really helpful for bug fixes and to get us used to it first. But yeah, see, the settings are still the old one, but look at how smooth these buttons are. Like when you kind of hover over it, there's also sound effects. There's new sound effects, but I can't record those, so you'll have to listen for yourself. But everything is just so smooth. It's incredible. If we go on to play, obviously we can spawn a plot in quickly. Actually, no, I'm gonna go to my neighborhood. So if we click on neighborhoods, we are gonna go in here. One of the things we're gonna talk about in a second after we've looked at it all is the fact that we don't have our custom colors on the UI anymore. But here we go, we are in the game. If you look, it all looks different now. We're going to go over everything one by one. So first of all, we now have a very transparent look to the buttons, and this is honestly great. This is great for so many reasons, but specifically this is more kind of mobile friendly. I did have a look on mobile, and the transparent look on the buttons makes it feels like it's not kind of like filling up as much of the screen for players, which is great. You can kind of zone out to it a bit more, which is what players have been asking for a long time. People kind of didn't like how, I guess, solid the old UI was, but everything has moved around a little bit. So at the top here we have the time, and everything's in the same font. They've kept the same font and kind of like the same color scheme, which is great. So it's still very Bloxburgy, but we have the time up here. We have the daily objectives bar at the top, which is something I don't really like, but once again, we'll get onto that in a second. We have the money now on the top right corner, and this is something that people have already been complaining about. However, it is in a good spot. Like, it doesn't look bad. It's just kind of slightly different. Obviously, it used to be in the bottom left corner, but I do think this was actually changed to kind of fit with the new UI when they kind of update the rest of it. But yeah, it is different, but we can very easily get used to that. It's not exactly a bad change. Then at the bottom left, we now have the moods, which has a super cute little emoji face. It's so clean. Look at the movement. If we click on this, it brings up a mini mood bar. Once again, it has like the same font and everything, and this looks really good. My moods are very low. Let me do something quickly, but I love how this looks. Like, the mood thing is one of my new favorites. Oh, and then again, if you have like something in your inventory, now it looks like this. It looks slightly different, but yeah, when you do something to affect your moods, obviously the bar will then fill up like this. It's so smooth. Anyways, next what we have is the kind of like inventory at the bottom. Let me go. Yeah, you can see it better here. So cute. It's very smooth. So obviously you can then add things like this. It brings up the phone. Oh no, we'll talk about the phone in a second, but yeah, it brings up the backpack, which is very similar to the old one. But look at all this smooth movement. I can't get over how like everything moves so nicely. But yeah, the new backpack looks super cute. And then of course on the bottom right corner, we have the house button. We only have 3 buttons now. They've kind of condensed everything down, which is nice. The shop will open the shop, which still has the old design. And then of course we have the phone button itself, which opens the phone like this. Now, a lot of people have some complaints about the phone, and I am going to discuss kind of like what everyone's thinking in a second, but we're just going to go over kind of like what is actually here first before we kind of talk about what we feel about it. So we have the plot button, which takes you to the plot information, which has a new menu. We have the neighborhoods, which opens the neighborhood kind of thing here. We have the objectives, which opens the objectives, of course. We have the backpack, which opens the new backpack menu. We have avatar, which takes you to the avatar custom kind of thing, so you don't actually have to go to a dresser now, which is very helpful. And then we also have the jobs, which opens the job menu, which has been completely revamped as well. Oh my gosh, the icons are adorable. I love this. The icons look super cute. We have all of this. This is such a nicer kind of menu. We then have the family thing, which opens the family tree. We have the party thing, which opens the party menu. Skills, which opens skills, which has also been revamped. I love these icons so much. They they did such a great job of some of these kind of layouts. We then also have on the second page the updates, which takes you to the update log, so you can kind of look at what's new. And then there's also the help button, which brings up the help menu, and that's kind of how everything is now laid out. But let's talk about the community's opinions and my opinions as well. Now, this did actually get teased. Oh no, if I zoom in, it gets rid of the thing. Okay, let me just like talk for a second and then we'll bring it back up. Anyways, this was obviously teased 2 days ago and there was a bit of backlash, but honestly, a lot of it was because they used a GIF to tease it, which meant the quality was worse and you couldn't really see it like that clearly. Looking past that, people's opinions of it have mostly been positive because for the most part, especially in my opinion, this is a good change. Now, what I say, everything new these days, is a lot of people think it's bad because it's just different. So what you guys need to do is give yourself time to adjust and use it for a few days first, because a lot of people just think it's bad because it's different, not because it's actually bad, not because it's ugly, it's just new. A lot of people have been saying it doesn't feel very Bloxburgy, but once again, we've had the same UI for 9 years, I think. So of course it's not going to feel Bloxburgy because it's different. We haven't had this one in the game for years, but they use all the same fonts. Everything is very much Bloxburg, just elevated. They have taken so much of the old stuff and basically just redone it. Like, all of the fonts are the same. The color scheme for the most part is the same. But of course, there is always going to be complaints, and there's also always going to be stuff they can improve on as well. So what I was actually doing earlier was talking in the Bloxburg Discord server, and we basically put a list together of things people are kind of like negative about and what they're positive about. So we're going to go over that as well, hand over how I feel about it. So let me pull up the menu real quick. Starting with the positive feedback, so many people absolutely love the new feel of it. For the most part anyways, it looks clean and modern. It looks like a professional game, but it also still looks like Bloxburg because obviously they've just edited the things that Bloxburg already had there. The UI feels like it takes up less space as it's transparent and clean, which it does. It doesn't feel as intrusive on your eyes. When you're walking around and role-playing and stuff, it's very easy to kind of zone out to the fact it's there. Like, it almost makes the screen feel bigger, which is great. Most people like the majority of it. We can say this was a good change and a good step forward, even though there is things people would edit. They've done a great job keeping things like the old font and colors. Speaking of the colors, like I said, they did make it so you now can't have your own custom color UI. So if I go into build mode, as you can see, everything is blue. It's not my like pink color, which to be honest, I really miss. I'm hoping maybe at some point you can have your custom color again. Anyways, moving on, people also love the charm of it and the new sound effects and the way it moves. They put so much effort into it. It feels more kind of better designed. Obviously the old UI was from like 2016. It was basically just white boxes. This feels more animated and it's really great. The harmony of it is good for the most part. It feels more detailed and more kind of love put into it. And the loading screen and the new logo is awesome. And once again, this isn't just like my opinion or anything. This is a list I put together with the Discord server and talking to people. But that is the positive feedback. That is what people like. And obviously for the most part, once again, people are kind of a bit weird about it because they know it's different, but they know it'll grow on them. We just need to actually give it time to set in. A lot of us won't like it immediately. And my kind of opinion on that is I'm in the Bloxburg content creator program. I already had seen this previously, so I've had time to get used to it. However, if I hadn't had that time, I would be more kind of not upset about it, but just not enjoying it as much because I have obviously seen this before. I've had time to get used to it and you guys will too. This is still just the first day, but let's move on to the criticism as well. So the things that people aren't enjoying. First of all, emote layout. This is a huge one actually. So if you've ever seen things like Bloxburg theater shows or fashion shows or dance routines or anything like that, they heavily rely on the emote layout, like the backpack thing for emotes. Let me find this. I don't even know where it is, honestly. Oh, it's here. I'm so blind. Okay, so this is the emote layout right now. They've changed it slightly and I think the buttons are a lot bigger, which means people don't have as many emotes on their screen, and it's basically making it harder for these theaters and communities to pull out the emotes that they need to use in very quick orders to do like dance routines and stuff, and that is frustrating for them. If you've ever heard of things like Illumination Theater, who have like 15,000 followers, this is something that's going to really impact them. So one of the main points was that they're not as easy to use. They don't really like it at all, and it's kind of causing them hassle, and some suggest making the buttons smaller and letting them arrange them in a custom order. They don't like the backpack kind of layout because it's kind of different and slightly bigger than the old one. And honestly, I do agree with them. I do agree, like for the emote thing, basically mainly, it's kind of harder to use. However, for the most part, this looks pretty good. Now, what I will say, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, is I have some issues with the phone colors. But in terms of the layout for it, like this is good. This looks really good. They've done some nice like animation. The layout was pretty much fine. It's very easy to grab stuff. However, it's just obviously difficult for the emote thing. Moving on, we also have that the daily objective bar is annoying, which I agree on because I don't really use it, so it's kind of annoying for me that it's at the top of the screen. However, some people do like it there. Some people do actually use it, and I was told that once you do the daily objectives, it disappears. So we're gonna try that as well. So it says change my name tag. Let me just do everything it tells me to do. Okay, change name tag. Oh no, my content creator one. Okay, there we go. It's premium. But yeah, for people who don't do the daily objective, it's kind of annoying that it's at the top here, but it's not bad. Like, it's not ugly or anything. It's not humongous. It's just kind of like, if you don't do it, you'll kind of notice that it's there more because it's not something you're interested in doing. Oh, that is so cool. How the text moves is awesome though. But apparently if you do the daily objective, this will change and be replaced by the kind of mood prompts, just like it was before. So I don't really think this is like a solid thing. This, as we saw a few seconds ago, the text changes and kind of interacts with when you're doing the tasks. I'm guessing it's going to be used for more than just saying daily objective at the top. And it does have a good placement. Like, it's kind of like a nice bar where they can display text and things. Oh my gosh, and when you go into your job, it changes as well. So we now have the earnings and the efficiency at the top. Okay, wait, this is awesome. Look at this. Wait, this is so much better. Oh no, I'm going to burn these things. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going to have to put more in. Anyways, this looks great. Well, how it looks in jobs is amazing. This looks really good. There we go. We've successfully deep fried things and it says all daily objectives completed. And then what does it do? And then it switches to moods. Okay, I don't hate it that much now. That's pretty good. Once you've done the objectives, it changes to this. It's in a very nice place. I don't think it's that bad. However, I do understand if people don't do daily objectives, they're gonna look at that and be like, okay, well, I don't want that there. But for jobs and for everything else, that looks really good. It's less kind of intrusive than the old one. People kind of don't like that as much. But then moving on to the phone colors aren't Bloxburgy / phone design is not as clean as the rest of the UI. Let me get back to my plot before I yap about this, because this was something even before it updated a couple days ago I was saying as well. So first of all, on the topic of the phone as a whole, I really like it. I, as a creator, get a lot of comments from people not knowing where to find certain things and not really knowing like how to find the backpack button or the daily objective button and stuff like that. And the phone has fixed this because you click one button and everything appears. It's such a great layout. However, I will say I don't like the colors. I don't like the kind of theme of this thing. I don't like the background. I think the apps themselves have a nice design, but with everything else, it doesn't go very well. I don't think the background makes them pop very well. And also, I think it doesn't match the rest of the UI. And of course, it's not meant to, kind of. It's a phone. Phones always look more colorful and stuff. But I think, of course, at the same time, it is a menu for the game. So I understand people's criticism because I basically feel the same. I did actually sit and make a bunch of concepts on like other ways it could look, which I'm going to show you. This is a main one I did. So I was kind of just doodling and seeing what the apps would look like if the kind of icons were solid and like blue. So this is a very kind of Bloxburgy theme where it's just basically very much more simple, not as artistic, but more of like a basic kind of menu concept. I also did this, which kind of shows it against the current background, and then another one where I was just messing around with different brighter colors, and then a video here where you can actually see the contrast to the current one and my doodles. So this one, if I can pause it, in this one I made the icons a solid white instead of the kind of like ombre kind of shaded white here, but the icon designs themselves are super cute regardless. Like, these look amazing, but I understand why players are kind of like saying it doesn't match as well, because they do kind of want it to be more of a menu than like a colorful phone. I think it could be tweaked. It does kind of look out of place, but at the same time it's very well made. It just doesn't feel like, I guess, how players want it to feel. But the menu and the layout itself is amazing. It's so much better for players. It makes everything so much more simple and kind of larger. You can kind of see it better. But yeah, people do kind of just have issues with the color scheme and the way it's done compared to everything else, but I don't think it's bad. I think it looks really good. But I also understand what players are kind of like noticing, because I'm noticing it too. It was driving me crazy a couple days ago because it looks really good, but there's just something so slightly off about it, which is why I was sat doodling trying to figure out like what would kind of make it pop, I guess, more. Moving on, some people are saying it's too transparent for them. So some people that are, I think, colorblind and other kind of like, I guess, sight kind of issues are saying it doesn't kind of, they can't see it as well, which obviously isn't something I can really speak on, but that is, you know, genuine, decent feedback. And I have passed all of this on to the developers, so the list I'm reading I did send to them. But that is another one. And then we also have people want custom colors back, which is something I kind of agree with as well. However, at the end of the day, it's also not like that drastic. Like, it's not going to affect our gameplay that much. Then we have can't use the tab button to open the player list like on most other Roblox games. And what this means is I am clicking the tab button right now. In this top right corner, you'd normally see a player list, and it doesn't work anymore. They basically removed that feature, which, to be fair, a lot of games do actually have that removed, but they've removed it so it doesn't mess with the rest of the UI, which is frustrating, especially as someone who does events. When you're in a neighborhood and you're trying to find people's usernames, I'm gonna have to go like this and like scroll down this menu, which will be more difficult, but it's not really like a direct gameplay kind of like disruption, I guess, because obviously you're playing the game. It's not really about the playlist, but it's also at the same time, it's very frustrating for people. Then we also have, apparently the build mode UI pops up too fast. Let me test this. Okay, I kind of don't think it does. Like, that looks pretty fine to me. Okay, now I can't click out of it. I think I broke my game. Anyways, the final one is issue with neighborhood controls. And I've just basically directly quoted the person because I didn't know how to put it in my own words, but it says, I know you're working hard, but please add the neighborhood host kicking / blacklist. We can't do anything without having a plot. What happens if the server is maxing and we need to kick trolls and such? Guys, I've really glitched the game. What on earth is going on? I'm walking around in build mode. Can I walk off it? What on earth have I done? Okay, anyways, yeah, basically people are saying that they can't get their neighborhood menu or something when their plots are full, and I can't test that because I'm the only one in the server. But that is also something I passed on, and that's pretty much everyone's kind of thoughts on the update. Overall, it's so positive. I think we can all admit, even though it like obviously feels different and looks different, it is such a good change that people will get used to over time. It's much more helpful. It's much more less kind of like blocky on the screen. In my opinion, I love it, and I obviously have had more time to get used to it, but I think it's perfect. I think it is very Bloxburgy still, and I think they've done a great job keeping it very clean and neat. And I think this is great for, you know, like the new future of the game. The logo looks incredible. The logo feels more Bloxburgy than ever. They've done a great job. There is just some things that I would tweak, or that other players would tweak. The main thing for me is just like the phone kind of colors, I guess, and the daily objective bar, but that's not really annoying me as much now that I've actually used it a bit. But what are your thoughts on the update? Please let me know down below. Also, please make sure to keep it constructive and not just being mean in the comments. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I think it's incredible. It's obviously going to be a change we have to get used to, but I think it's great, and obviously the game can't stay the same way forever. They do have to modernize it, but I think the 2025 era of Bloxburg is going to be pretty cool. But that's all for today's video, and I will see you all later. I love you all so much, glossettes. XOXO, Glossy Girl.